Good morning, Nigeria. I'm Manu Luapoido, and this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. We begin with the Daybreak gist. And this morning, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is reported to have questioned former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai over corruption allegations. We examine what is known so far and what the allegations involve, and the wider implications for accountability in public office.
And I am Samson Balogun. After that, we will bring you the weather reports to help you plan your day. Also, we'll have the Daybreak News to bring you the major national and international stories shaping this morning. Later, newspaper headlines and analysis takes us through the front pages and the issues driving public debates with insight from Afolabi Afolami, a public affairs analyst and an entrepreneur.
So, at the top of the hour today, our big story asks, power plays and public safety. Is 2027 politics undermining Nigeria's security focus? With political conversations already gathering momentum, we examine whether electoral calculations are beginning to distract from urgent security priorities. And joining us for that conversation is Comrade Oluwakemi Ademolaremu, KT, lecturer at the University of Ibadan and human rights activist today.
All right, we close the program this morning with Trend Watch, highlighting the stories and conversations gaining traction across social and digital spaces before we sign off on this show.
And of course, it's a morning of insight, scrutiny, and perspective for the day.
Yeah, right there on Dominion Television.
Absolutely. Good morning to you, Samson, this morning.
Well, it's really nice to have you back on this show.
Yes, I'm excited, I'm delighted.
Some time off. Well, it was just yesterday anyway. But it's safe to say, to welcome you back and say congratulations to us at Dominion Broadcast Group.
Absolutely.
A year of broadcasting excellence has just passed, and we are gearing up for a brand new year of more success, and of course doing more for the people out there who are actually taking their time to watch us live.
And with a focus on professionalism,
absolutely,
ethical journalism, and every good thing you can expect, to serve the community is our responsibility.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where we always say on this that broadcasting excellence is our watchword. Definitely.
Absolutely.
But away from there, let's talk about integrity and excellence. We'll talk about Malam Nasir El-Rufai yesterday was grilled by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. And after all the drama that happened at the airport, and even the statement he made before he came back to Nigeria on international television saying he might be arrested when he gets to Nigeria. He resisted arrest at the airport, or maybe an invite, let me put it that way. Also, we can't really substantiate if what happened at the airport was an arrest or a gentle reminder that he has a call to answer at the EFCC. But definitely, that did not happen well. And then there was a rescheduled meeting, which he attended yesterday. And whatever happened behind closed doors might not necessarily stay behind closed doors. But what was clear was that he was there. And another thing happened was, I think politicians should stop this attitude of visiting the EFCC and going with their entourage. I mean, not just your hates, but supporters, not even supporters. These are political godsons and some other people within the party saying, "Look, we have to be there with you." I mean, all that is going to happen there is someone will tell you, "You are staying at the gate," and the rest you stay at the gate, and the only one person will have to sit at the table at the end because you don't even know why he has been invited. And I think we should stop politicizing and crying foul of things that they are just normal routine. I mean, it's not a big deal when the EFCC invites you. As long as you know that you have nothing to fear or to worry about, all you have to do is to tender your documents and say, "Oh, whatever it is you have as an information is totally wrong. This is mine." And let's juxtapose. Let's see who's wrong. That's just the idea.
I mean, it's something to even think about. Because there were two factions, some supporting, some against.
Absolutely.
And
that was
so I think the person that led the people that were against was Mohammed Abdullahi, who is the spokesperson of the group. protesting against El-Rufai, and he insisted that corruption allegations against the former governor must not be trivialized or politicized. Meanwhile, on the other hand, right, the other faction...
They're also talking about not politicizing.
Exactly.
So who's politicizing all of this?
Exactly. So that's the question, really. So the two factions are, one for, against, and it's a drama. But I remember yesterday, the FCC spokesperson, Dele Yewale, who responded to them, appealed for calm, and then he told them that, you know what, we are going to try every possible best, right, as we say, to ensure that your concerns are taken to the right quarters and then to be dealt with. He also promised them that they would do their job professionally over the issues that was raised, and then he said, according to him, that the right of Nigerians to lawful protest is respected, and then they feel concerned about it. So they said their protests and demands will actually be communicated to the executive chairman accordingly. But let's bring it back to what it could mean for a former governor, to be in this particular kind of suit. But I think once it's discovered, there was even another report I saw that said, once the FCC is done, there's DSS waiting, just like we've seen in recent times, when once if you ever get released from that particular conversation, someone else will pick you up, because the allegations against him, I think about 3 counts charge was raised against him, especially about the new Ribadu, the NSA, being tapped, and that's a conversation that is really questioning what our leaders, or the extent our leaders can go to ensure something happens.
And even politicians and non-politicians alike are saying, look, this has to be investigated.
Exactly, because if you have to tap the conversations or the core of a national security advisor, it poses danger to the entire nation, because if you have to say...
no Nigerian is safe.
I mean, so and we are also in a complicated situation right now. Nigeria is fighting terrorism, and it's really serious in the country. There are a lot of people divided whether the government is doing something or they're not doing anything. So there could be some classified information that you have now been privy to unlawfully, which is why a lot of people are saying this cannot just go scot-free. How could you even do that in the first place? I mean, maybe let's talk about the government as well. Right. People in that position of security, I think there should be a lot of security for them as well, in terms of some of the things they are doing, because many of the conversations they'll be having, maybe strategies on how to get into those terrorist groups and just break into that, and a lot more, right? So you cannot undermine that, the security, or the how do we put it now, the security of the people, from people who are holding public offices in that regard. So you don't want to compromise that. Whatever is leaked from them is going to help those terrorists do well. And because even if you say that this is just a personal issue, you're trying to get into something, that's not even as important as saying this is the national security advisor in the country Nigeria. Tapping this person means that you are breaking the law. And not just breaking, you are breaking a constitutional, you are breaking the national laws of the land. You are subjecting the country to compromise, and that is not acceptable. Now again, I mean, this is not even, we have not discovered if this is actually what was the case, but there's been allegations that it was part of that, it was complicit to that particular crime. Well, we might not call it crime yet, because it was complicit to the allegation that he was involved into that, as how that unfolded. But let's bring it back to what it could mean for politics. There's been the conversation of Nasir El-Rufai also speaking ill of this present administration. We've seen recent times he's come out to say a lot of things, and he even said recently that his life is threatened, that there are some persons trying to get to him, that kind of thing, and a lot of conversations, around his own security, his own safety, and he's come out to say that in the public. But I still want to keep the opinion that, just like you mentioned when you started, why do we have a lot of entourage following you just because you were called for questioning? You are just as human as every other person who goes to court every day. Because if you do something that is bad, you should be tried for it. If you do the crime, you should do the time. You should be held, even if you are a one-time president. I mean, these are the things. Of course, we used to talk about immunity, right? But when it comes to national debates or national security or things of national interest, we should put it right where it belongs, right? It should be on the table of discourse. Let it be that you are scrutinized. Let it be that the courts will take it, the law will take its full course, even if he has to, I mean to say. So I'm saying all of this to say it is very important that they get to the deep or should we say deeper root of this issue? It's not just the root, because the root can just be, you can just put some soil to still not show the root. But let's get into the heart of this matter and see if he had been complicit to that, and if law should take a full course on it.
Right. I'll quickly echo your sentiment on some challenges we have had, and why some people with high security clearance in Nigeria really needs to be careful about what they do. I mean, most Nigerians know how these things work, especially when it comes to cyber security. There are so many things that really needs to be done. One of that is to make sure that you separate your official line from your personal phone. I mean, these are two different things. You don't mix these two together. And, you know, I think there should be a secured communication line. I mean, approved one only anyway, that says, look, this line is secured. I can talk talk to anyone within the same security clearance level, and then we'll be sure that our communication is also intact. And sometimes most people keep their devices not so ardent. I mean, you see OS upgrades and then you do not care. The moment your phone decides to upgrade and you say you don't want to upgrade, you have left your phone in a very deadly situation, because at any point in time, that particular OS that you have insisted on using might just be hacked by someone. And that leaves you in a very deadly situation. And also, sometimes there are things you need to do that, you know, people send links to you and you just click like that. I mean, these are clickbaits. These are things that could actually affect you and, you know, expose your devices to so many things that you might not really be, interested in. And of course, put you in a very deadly situation, just like we are seeing with Malam Nasiru, El-Rufai and Nuhu Ribadu. But then, most importantly, avoid public Wi-Fi. You know, whatever
that's one of the ways, cybersecurity and all that.
Whatever is cheap, you know, comes with a lot of baggage. So you really have to avoid public Wi-Fi. It's very important that you do that.
But something, sorry, let's advance this conversation a bit, because something came to my mind. Right. How is it possible to tab a national security advisor? Now, I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I'm saying, how can they not make it so difficult to do? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There are things one of the most important thing to do is, I mean, all these avoiding public Wi-Fi, these they are even secondary. The most important thing as a national security advisor, you must have a secured communication line that nobody can break. I mean, it is routed through. I mean, there's this particular one that some of these network providers, ISPs, brought some times ago. They call it CUG. Close communication line. So it means that it's just between the two of you. No other person can get into that conversation.
And it's secured. But, you know, this is Nigeria.
But this is 2020. My point is this. I'm not sure this should happen. Technology has advanced to a point where, yes, it can be tapped, but it has to be tapped by people who have done a lot of work to get it done.
That's this. You see, the challenge with the country is usually we joke and play with a lot of things, and really, and most of the times there are things of utmost importance, and we don't really care. We feel like, well, nothing's going to happen until something happens, and this is just. In fact, let me just say this. I was even thinking, Madam Nasir El-Rufai might not have even tapped his phone. Might just be talking because he wanted to, you know, say something, and eventually becomes a problem for him. You know, sometimes when you talk to an extent, some people have even complained that he talks too much. You know, as a politician, yes, you want to talk. Yes, as someone in the opposition, a vocal one in the opposition, you want to talk, but you might get in trouble. I'll cite an instance. Sometimes ago, he made a statement about, oh, if anybody tries to criminalize him, that person will have to fight him till death. And if you doubt that, ask Umar Musa Yar. The video is on the internet. You can find it. That he said, look, if you try to criminalize me, I will fight you till death. And if you want to doubt me, ask Umar Musa Yaradua. It's either one person dies, it's either he dies or the other person dies. He said that. It's in the public domain. You can find the video on the internet. In fact, it started circulating about 2 or 3 days ago. Again. So sometimes you make some reckless statements that comes back to, you know, give you sleepless nights like Malam Nasir El-Rufai is currently having. And be that as it may, if all of this is now done and dusted, a lot of things will happen that will shift the narrative of how people see Malam Nasir El-Rufai. One of that is the party he currently represents might just distance itself. That, oh, look, with all that has happened, we don't want to be a part of any of this. Is Malam Nasir El-Rufai, we are the ADC. So he's just an individual in the party. The moment your party tells you that, you are in trouble because your relevance wanes. Another thing that will happen is the fact that followership might reduce. Because one thing that gives him the kind of energy currently has as an opposition leader is the fact that he knows he has called followership in Kaduna. At the moment they feel like, oh, he has been criminalized in one way or the other, especially when the law says he is this. I mean, it has been pronounced a criminal by the court of law. Then it's a problem. Followership will reduce. Nobody will. I mean, Yoruba has this particular saying, the moment you have a problem, people will tend to turn their back and then walk away. So nobody wants to be a failure. I will cite an instance. Abba Yusuf was made a governor by Rabi Musa Kwankwaso in Kano State against his friend Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who also had a candidate at the time. What happened? The moment Abba Yusuf decided to leave the party, NMPP, to join the APC, some Kwankwasia members who were loyal members of the party and also loyal to Kwankwaso left the party and moved to the APC. You know why? Because he's the sitting governor. He has the wherewithal to feed them. He has the wherewithal to give them appointments. So they want to associate with him because he's the sitting governor. Now, the problem is, if he loses the election come 2027, you will realize that those followers will have to go back to where they know that something will come out. I mean, they stand to gain something. So the narrative will change. And Nasiru El-Rufai might just not survive it. But all that being said, I think it is still in the early stages, and until the court says, "Oh, this has happened," yes, everyone still has to keep doing permutations and combinations of what might be or what will not be.
Okay, my concern really, I'll just express it in a few words, and my concern basically is if El-Rufai can be tapped. Who else I mean to say, who else cannot be?
If he's that exposed, I don't think the president's phone is not exposed.
That's exactly where I'm going. So, because if you have to say...
Because there should be a secured communication line between the security advisor, the generals, chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, and chief of naval staff, and so many other people, even the commissioner of police, inspector general of police, I beg your pardon, down to the presidency. So there is a closed user group there where communication about high-level security matters are being discussed, classified information. So this has been, for me, I think some of them have been declassified because now someone has come out to say, the NSA that you all hype so much, I have tapped his phone. I mean, that says a lot about
so the wider implication is that going forward, it might be difficult to really trust this system. And that's what everybody has been saying. And what are they saying? What they're saying, this is 2026. The world has moved so fast that Nigeria is just starting to move. So if we cannot get to the point where we have used technology to the best of our defense, I'm not sure we are really moving, because we should think about technology, think about AI, think about all of this development that can help. So if we don't have technology at the very top cadre, I mean, so how can we even get it down to an average person, right? Because at this point in time, we should not be talking about tapping, especially coming from a governor. It may be if a terrorist association from maybe ISIS or any bigger one does that, we might say, okay, they're trying so much, and maybe they have the security, and they've breached the security firewall, they've been able to breach some of the systems in the country, and maybe it's not acceptable though, but it's something we can say, oh, maybe that's a possibility because of the systems they control and some of the things they have. But not that a governor is saying that he even knows someone that tapped the phone of a national security advisor. Now that's the question. Now they will ask him to provide the name. If you know the person, then state it. We have to know. You cannot just say, I didn't say that again.
At this point, you cannot deny. The only thing you can say is you lied.
Yeah.
Okay. Which also has
consequences. But even that has consequences. Yeah.
Okay. And you cannot say, you had information, someone tapped, and you don't know who tapped.
Yes.
So you have to provide the person that tapped or the group of people that helped you tap. So that is, for me, I think it's going to be a very long case. Just that, it might just be just one of those cases in Nigeria that all of a sudden you stop hearing anything about it. Probably when closed door meetings are conducted and then charges are dropped. So this could just be another Nigeria waiting to happen. But away from that, we do hope that the federal government starts making people responsible for what they do or say, holding them accountable. Because in the long run, what it says about the judicial arm of government is that it is weak. And if you have a weak judicial arm of government susceptible to control by anybody, and I mean, it says it means that Nigeria is on the brink, and a country that will survive really has to have a very strong judicial arm of government that is not dependent or reliant on any other arm of government. So a lot is still to be done in Nigeria, and I do hope that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, knows exactly what to do at this time, especially in that area. He's been talking about reforms, and reform is not limited to the economy alone. It has to be done in the judicial and executive arm of government too. That takes us away from this topic this morning. So thank you for joining us. It is time for us to help you plan your day and see how you can navigate through the weather today. And we'll be starting with the ancient city of Ibadan. What the weather says in Ibadan Southwest this morning, the Pacesetter state, weather feels like 29 degrees Celsius right here. And later in the morning, it stays same at 29 degrees Celsius while it is partly cloudy at 14%. It will remain partly cloudy in the afternoon, but a sharp rise to 35 degrees Celsius at 0%, while it will drop to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, at 4%. And overnight, it will drop to 26 degrees Celsius, cloudy at 10% right there in Ibadan today.
And if you have business or businesses in Lagos today, the weather in Lagos feels like 33 degrees Celsius across board. And later in the morning, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius with a promise of showers. So get your umbrella if you have to go to Lagos today from Ibadan, because the humidity is at 72%. That's high. And of course, later in the afternoon, the weather increases to 31 degrees Celsius, and it's expected to be mostly cloudy as well. And then it becomes clear in the evening at 28 degrees Celsius. And overnight, it remains mostly cloudy. Maybe showers expected the next day as well at 27 degrees Celsius. Overnight in Lagos today.
All right, moving on to the Sunshine State, and that is Akure, Ondo State this morning. Weather in Akure currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius in Akure South. Later in the morning, it will rise by 4 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius while being partly cloudy at 10%. Later in the afternoon, it will rise to 33 degrees Celsius, remaining partly cloudy at 0%. It will be mostly cloudy in the evening, 26 degrees Celsius, 7%. And overnight, it will drop to 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy at 21% right there in Akure South, Ondo State today.
And I'll move from there now to Rivers State, that's Port Harcourt particularly today. The weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius across board. And later in the morning, rises by 5 degrees Celsius up to 27 degrees Celsius today in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. And of course, later in the afternoon, it rises much further to 28 degrees Celsius with a promise of scattered thunderstorms expected in that region, and then it drops by 5 degrees Celsius back to 23 degrees Celsius in the evening. Also expected to be mostly cloudy at 24% humidity level, and overnight it drops much further by 1 degree Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy in Port Harcourt, Rivers State today.
All right, joining Hanu in the south this morning, I'll be going to Cross River in Calabar. Weather in Cross River, Calabar currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius as we speak. And later in the morning, there will be a promise of rainfall, 100% at 28 degrees Celsius in Cross River, Calabar. While in the afternoon, it will rise to 31 degrees Celsius with promise of isolated thunderstorms at 31%. And later in the evening, it will drop to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy at 11%. And overnight, it will remain mostly cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius, 15% right there. So if we are in Cross River, Calabar, of course, you have to prepare and go out with your umbrella this morning.
And of course, not so much of a difference between Calabar and Enugu today. Enugu, the weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, just like in Calabar. And later in the day, it rises to 29 degrees Celsius, about 5 degrees Celsius increase right there. It's expected to be mostly cloudy at 24% humidity level. And later in the afternoon, it rises much further by 4 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. And then it drops significantly in the evening to 27 degrees Celsius, and it's expected to be mostly cloudy. And overnight, it drops much further by 3 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly cloudy at 7% humidity in Enugu today.
All right, leaving the south and the southeast this morning, I move to the north central, and that is is talking about Plateau State. As we speak, whether in Plateau, in Yakubu Gowon Airport, currently feels like 16 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning to be a sharp rise to 23 degrees Celsius with the promise also of sunlight, and of course it will be sunny at 0%. And later in the morning it will rise further to 28 degrees Celsius while being partly cloudy at 15%. It will be mostly cloudy in the evening, 18 degrees Celsius at 0%, while it will be clear overnight at 15 degrees Celsius, 0% right there in Plateau State today.
And of course, from Plateau now to Maiduguri, Borno State today, the weather is quite sunny across board because in the morning it starts with 26 degrees Celsius, quite sunny right there. There's not even one chance of humidity right there today. And later in the afternoon, it rises to 31 degrees Celsius, whoopingly becomes very sunny as well with 0% humidity as well. But later in the evening, there's a sharp drop to 22 degrees Celsius, and then the weather becomes clear for pilots to fly, and also it remains clear overnight at 18 degrees Celsius in Maiduguri, Borno State today.
All right, moving on to the still in this north central, and that is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Weather in Abuja as we speak currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning to rise to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy at 0%, and in the afternoon it will rise further by 6 degrees Celsius to 34 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 4%. It will be clear in the evening, 28 degrees Celsius at 10%, while overnight it will be partly cloudy, 24 degrees Celsius, 0% right there in Abuja today.
And then Sokoto North is where I moved to now. In Sokoto North today, and Sokoto State, the weather feels averaging like 20 degrees Celsius across board. And then in the morning, it rises much further to 24 degrees Celsius, and is expected to be very sunny with no chance of humidity right there. In the afternoon, it rises whoopingly to 31 degrees Celsius, such an increase, an abrupt increase right there. And then the weather remains sunny. And then it becomes clear in the evening, dropping to 22 degrees Celsius, expected to be clear. And overnight, it drops much further to 18 degrees Celsius, and the weather becomes clear in Sokoto North, Sokoto State today.
All right, lastly, let's take this one from Kano this morning. Weather in Kano State, in Kano Municipal, currently feels like 17 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning, it will rise to 22 degrees Celsius while being sunny at 0%. And in the afternoon, it will remain sunny, 29 degrees Celsius at 0%. And it will be clear in the evening and overnight, and 20 degrees Celsius and 14 degrees Celsius respectively right there in Kano State today. And that will be all we can take on weather report this morning. We say thank you for joining us on this show. It has been a wonderful session so far. Do well to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast, and also like our Facebook page. Drop your comments on those live videos, and definitely we'll take them on this show. It is time to go on a short break. When we return, we'll take the news with Anuduapo.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluakpo Edo. The Senate has urged the North Central Development Commission to prioritize agriculture and security in its 2026 budget. Chairman of the Senate Committee on the Commission, Titus Zem, made the call during the defense of the Commission's budget estimate. He said lawmakers found the proposals relevant but stressed that spending must align with the Commission's mandate, noting that agriculture is critical to the North Central region. The committee, however, expressed dissatisfaction with the implementation of the 2025 capital budget, citing nationwide challenges. The Senate committee approved the 140 billion naira estimate for the Commission's 2026 financial year. The federal government of Nigeria is set to arraign former Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Court document filed alleged that El-Rufai unlawfully intercepted phone communications belonging to the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. A three-count charge includes allegations of associating with individuals involved in the act and using technical systems to compromise national security. The case was filed by lawyers representing the Department of State Services, DSS, and the court is expected to fix a hearing date soon. Mixed reactions have continued to trail reports of the arrival of the United States troops in Nigeria amid renewed attacks in parts of the country, while some Nigerians view the deployment as a necessary step to curb insurgency. Others have expressed concern over foreign military involvement and its long-term implications for national sovereignty. Meanwhile, the Oyo State Police Command has foiled a planned bandit attack in Elebe village in the Aleni Borough area of the state, neutralizing two suspects during an intelligence-led operation. Police spokesperson Anyola Adeola said the operation followed a tip-off about armed men hiding in a farm settlement and planning a night attack. He said the divisional police officer in Tede alerted the Commissioner of Police, Femi Haruna, who ordered the deployment of additional operatives. The suspect reportedly opened fire on police and local hunters, leading to a gun battle in which 2 were neutralized, while others fled with suspected gunshot wounds. Recovered items include firearms, cartridges, mobile phones, and suspected illicit drugs. Police say security has been reinforced in the area with surveillance ongoing. Oyo State and Kwara State are set to strengthen anti-banditry operations with the deployment of 2 surveillance aircraft. Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde said the DA-42MNG intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft will provide area monitoring across Oyo and border communities linking Kwara State. The governor noted that although owned by Oyo State, the aircraft will support joint security operations, particularly in the border areas vulnerable to criminal activities. He added that platforms will boost the capacity of Amotekun and other security agencies in tackling banditry, kidnapping, illegal mining, and related crimes. And now in business, Nigeria's inflation rate eased to 15.1% in January 2026, down slightly from 15.15% recorded in December 2025. This is according to the latest Consumer Price Index (CPI) report released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). The NBS said the CPI fell to 127.4 points in January, indicating a slowdown in the pace of price increases. Food inflation also declined to 8.8% from 10.8% the previous month. And on a month-on-month basis, headline inflation stood at minus 2.8%, reflecting lower average price increases compared to December. Despite the moderation, many Nigerians say the cost of living remains high across the country. And on sport, Nigeria's Falconets will face Malawi in the final round qualifier for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. The first leg will be played in Nigeria between May 1st and 3rd, 2026, with the return fixture in Blantyre from May 8 to 10. Nigeria advanced after a 3-1 aggregate victory over Senegal Lionesses, winning. Malawi progressed with a 6-2 aggregate win over Guinea-Bissau. The winner qualifies for the World Cup to be hosted by Poland from September 5 to 27, 2026. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and next at Dominion Casts. And as Daybreak News, I am Anu Luakbo Ito. Thank you for watching. Amidst the lingering crisis of insecurity in the country, Donald Trump has sent 100 more personnel, military personnel to the country, Nigeria, and that's one of the big and high points of the stories on the front pages of the newspaper today. Thank you for staying with us. Of course, this is the newspaper headlines and analysis segment of Daybreak Live, where we check into the print, bring up the stories of making the rounds across the country. Sometimes we delve, if time permits, across the world. And of course, talking about the stories of breaking out the New Telegraph newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and as many as we can lay our fingers on. But I'll start with the New Telegraph newspaper this morning. The big caption right there on the front page of that particular print is saying something about terror war. It says Trump sends 100 more military personnel to Nigeria. While some have not been able to make a good reasoning of that particular situation, some are saying we need more. Others are saying no, we can't need more. Let us see, whatever we have is what we should use. We have military personnel, we just need artilleries, we need machineries, we need equipment, not just personnel. Because with these questions, they have a lot of questions in their mind. But of course, that's the big caption right there. Trump sends 100 more military personnel to Nigeria. That story, if you want to get a good read, it's on page 2, 3, and 6 of the New Telegraph newspaper this morning. Still taking other stories right on that particular front. It says CBN food imports forex supply down 23.16% to $3.52 billion. That is talking economics right there. Something to check out this morning. Dangote signs $400 million equipment deal to fast-track refinery expansion. That is also a big one, and the word of business this morning. United Kingdom begins e-visas for Nigerian travelers from February 25. Seems like a good one for people, maybe business magnates, people who transact or do one or two kind of business in the UK. That's also something to check out this morning. Meanwhile, Bajabia Milan says education is Nigeria's strongest tool for development. Okay, so education is Nigeria's strongest tool for development. That's coming from Femi Bajabia Milan. This morning, other stories, NAS approves 1.504 trillion naira Nigerian Army budget. That's the National Assembly. But there's so much to talk about the National Assembly this morning. Many things of interest, but we'll get into every of the story as we continue. Right, moving on from the New Telegraph newspaper to see what other papers are saying this morning, particularly Vanguard newspaper. What do we have on the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning? The bold caption is about electoral act, and that's where I meant when I said that the Senate will be on the table. Hide and seek game in Abuja as reps avoid joint meeting. That is the one that is catching everybody's attention. Hide and seek. I thought we were little when we played that game last. Adults also playing this, but that's exact case right there about the electoral act. Hide and seek game in Abuja as reps avoid joint meeting. Why? Maybe we'll get to that in the course of today, because the meeting is supposed to reschedule today. Because they said also meeting rescheduled to late night at Senate President Lodge in Maitama, and how to make electronic transmission of results glitch-free in 2027. That's one of the issues on the table, and there are plates to discuss. Telcos dismiss inadequate infrastructure, claim of Senate as half-truth. Half-truth, that's what they're saying there. And say Nigeria has capacity for real-time e-transmission. Wow, this is shocking review. That's telecommunications dismissing inadequate infrastructure to transmit. Anyway, results. That's exactly the case right there. We'll move on from that particular story to see El Rufai. The way the Vanguard newspaper will take the story says EFCC quizzes El Rufai over alleged 432 billion naira fraud. And that's about the former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai. So much to talk about that issue. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what becomes of this story particularly. Visa fraud overstays by Nigerians may attract stricter scrutiny. And that's coming from the United States. There's a warning from the U.S. government today. Inflation rate eases marginally to 15.1% in January. That's also talking economics, talking business this morning as well. Meanwhile, political class leveraging chaos to undermine elections. That's Charles Itodo saying that as well. Also on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, something to check out this morning. Now, NSCIA demands review of election timetable. That's also something to check right there. From the NSCIA, that's about 2027, 2027 elections. Tinubu Commission's project in Adamawa, that is also something to look out for, or to probably keep fingers crossed on, perhaps to put our hands together to clap for, or to say we need more. Anyway, the decision lies in our hands to decide. Now, moving on from the Vanguard newspaper this morning as well, to see what the nation has to say to the nation. I mean the Nation newspaper to the nation Nigeria. And particularly of interest is El Rufai on the front page. The big caption on the Nation newspaper is El Rufai faces 2-year jail for alleged cybercrime offenses. That is the big caption right there. Something to see this morning is of interest, right? This morning. And again, moving on from El Rufai now. Nigerian firm TGI CU's deal with Indian group RCPL. And that's also one of the stories making the rounds on the Nation newspaper, particularly this morning. Meanwhile, General Musa explains presence of United States military. I think that is a good conversation to have, because if we have 100 more, it means that there's something to talk about. If it was 200 before and now it's 100, it means there's something to discuss about that. So DHQ says 100 troops are in Bauchi, particularly. So if you need to get the update on that, they are currently in Bauchi State this morning. Now, moving on from that, inflation eases to 15.10%. That's one of the news we've just broken out today. Arrested insurgents found with 37 million naira cash. NRS deepens invoicing, something to be happy about, particularly with the revenue service in the country doing so much more, using technology to advance their profession, or should we say professionalism. DSS files charges ex-minister detained after hours of grilling. That is also something to say about the Nasir El-Rufai issue. I will keep tabs on that and many other stories. Now, moving on from the Nation now to the Guardian newspaper. From the Nation to the Guardian. The Guardian says 2027 protesters storm National Assembly as debate on Electoral Act resumes today. That is also a caption to watch out for this morning. Protesters are already storming the National Assembly as plenary is supposed to resume today about the Electoral Act. Should we do e-transmission? Should we do e-transmission and manual transmission? How do we go about this? There are a lot of questions on the table. Telcos have come to say, you know, there's capacity for this. It's not infrastructure deficit that would cause this. It is maybe the political will, or should we say the legal will or backing to make this happen. Not because we don't have the capacity to transmit electoral results from polling unit, polling booth, and all that. And that's exactly the conversation right there to be had today at the National Assembly about the 2027 elections as soon as we have it. Now, Kakwansiya defectors, APC adopts 60-40 formula in Kano. That is a big one about Kano State. We've talked about Kano to be a place of interest to every political party come 2027. Kano is, some have said, if you get Kano's vote, you've gotten the bulk, you've gotten the lion's share of all of the shares, because they don't just vote in thousands. Kano votes in millions. I remember 2019 it was about 1.96 million votes. In 2023 it was about 1.7 something votes. That's millions, right? And that's why every political party is gone in for that. Now the APC has Abba Kabir Yusuf in their own, room. So if they have him in their room, Kakwansiya movement is also trying to do something else. Meanwhile, Kakwansiya movement, we understand, has been the grassroots political power in the state, in Kano State particularly. They've been responsible for even how Nasir El-Rufai came to power through the NNPP. And of course, we know Kakwansiya is also the ringleader, should we say, the boss, calling the shots, controlling the sale of that particular vehicle. And that's exactly the situation right there. There seems to be a move right now. Kakwansiya defectors and APC adopt 60-40 formula in Kano. That's why there's been questions about, even if you have, talking about the APC, even if you have the APC in Kano, are you sure Kakwansiya movement will not do something else that might affect the overall outcome of your vote and what you're expecting. Others have said the governor has a lot of influence. So if he decides to say, I'm voting this particular party and I'm supporting this party because this is where I belong, then there might be, it could just as well be a walkover for him. But time will tell, like they say, and we'll keep our fingers crossed on that as well. ISWAP commander killed in Borno as U.S. sanctions 8 Nigerians over links to Boko Haram and cybercrime. Yesterday, there was the release about 8 people whose accounts has been blocked for reasons relating to, funding terrorism, funding ICs, funding Boko Haram, and all of those insurgent groups in the country. So there's been that claims as well, and we are still tracking it. But the way it is that ISWAP commander has been killed in Borno, according to the military architecture in the country, the military department saying that's exactly the case. But we'll keep tabs on all of these issues as it breaks much further. Now, rising insecurity heightens concerns in South-South. That is also something to check out this morning. While there seems to be calm in some quarters, some parts of South-South has been in, should we say, we don't want to call it chaos, but in sort of a thing right there in the South-South region. And that's exactly about that as well. FCT polls, ADC berates Wike over war threats. That is also something to check out this morning. 70% of Nigerians living with epilepsy are untreated, according to experts as well. Something to check out in the world of health, maybe to talk about health, because it's also important to the fabrics of our society that we focus on our health. Of course, many other stories still to come, but that will be shortly after this break when we have the analysis proper. Stay with us and don't go nowhere.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
And of course, now let's get into the conversation this morning. But I won't do this alone. I have with me Afolabi join us this morning. It's good to have you in the studio this morning.
Good to have you too. Thank you very much for having me.
Let's get into the conversation, especially that of Ribadu, the former Kaduna State Governor, the federal government, maybe DSS and the FCC. So there's been that conversation of tapping into the communication system of the National Security Advisor of the country, and then they came out to say it on live television that yes, somebody did that, and then they've been able to successfully tap into the communication system of the National Security Advisor. But I just want to know your thoughts on this. What do you think is the wider implications of this for the country?
Well, it's unfortunate that it's coming from Ribadu, who is not just new in the system, a former federal capital minister, former governor, and a deep politician in the northern side of Nigeria, to have come out openly to, come with that open secret to say that they've been able to tap into the National Security Advisor of federal government, and this is what they are working on. I think federal government has all rights to deal with him in this direction. I know he's not going to go scot-free, and this may also blow up so many other political tension that we are envisaging and we don't even expect at the time like this. Yes, that as it may, it also tells us that the political space, the political elites are not having it rosy like before. It's going to be a war that many people may fall by the side, and many may want to forcefully align with the present one. Yes, Ribi Ribadu has openly declared that he's not a friend to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president is only a member at the time he was contesting, and that was why he worked for him. He opened up so many secrets that many people don't know, and even telling us that he knows how they got there, he knows what it takes them to be there, and he will also open the bags to allow the cats to escape. So that tells us that our country have not been sitting on a very good seat. We have all been sitting on the keg of gunpowder, and we felt that we have been managed by people who really have the thoughts and the love of this country at heart. You imagine the person of Nuru Ribadu being tapped into by El-Rufai, who has once been a governor. If it is not compulsory, you'll be there always. It is that when you are there, you are opportune to be there, and understanding that there are many people far better than you outside there who, if they are given the same opportunity, may do better. But because you are not opportune to continue that particular space, you will see that immediately El-Rufai was taken out of the government. He started the enmity with the present government, which I personally don't see as a very good thing at all. Whatever manner I want to do it, you could have even stand at the edge of the opposition, playing your role, trying to correct, bringing out mistake, open up the loopholes where government has not been performing, trying to put them on that track and let them see it, and not to create a kind of enmity, a kind of tension, unhealthy rivalry that will mar the development, the growth of the country. It's very sad. For what he has said, I think the government should do something. Okay.
One of the things you quite made mention of, and I'm very interested in that, is why I would ask this question. I know you hold no brief for Nasir El-Rufai, but what do you think El-Rufai is looking for? Because there's been claims on the corridors to say, some said the president approached him to say, we want to give you an appointment, and then he declined. Others are saying, perhaps they didn't give him something he wants, right? So what do you think? Do you think Malam El-Rufai, Nasir El-Rufai, is looking for something?
Of course, he's looking for something. When you see at the time the president came on power after the election, they all went out doing their campaign, telling people what they want to do. I remember at the time the president was outside the country, and the question was asked to talk about security, and the president pointed to him, that he should answer that question, and he tells the kind of confidence the president would have had in him, the kind of belief he thought he would gather from him. But when he gets to a point of appointing him as a minister, people raise eyebrow. People talk about it that it's going to be a threat to the country. It's going to be a security threat, even if he is made the national security advisor to the president. He himself is going to become a security threat to the country. We are not looking at Nigeria as in Nigeria alone. We are looking at Nigeria and our diplomatic relationship with other countries. Look at it now. Very unfortunate. USA is coming to the country to assist in our insecurity, to make us have a stable security performance, something like that. But what will have happened if it is El-Rufai in that position? Will El-Rufai be able to negotiate or talk very well with the United States of America on the area on the allegation against the killing of Christians in the country? What will he think he will be presenting forward? He, as a president, as a governor at his time, made a particular point, a particular statement that dealt with Christians in his own state. His state is known to be a place where you have a governor as a Muslim and a Christian as a deputy governor. But when he got there, he changed the direction. He changed the target. He changed everything, and he made it a Muslim ticket. And he frowned at it and was very blown at what he's doing. El-Rufai himself, because he has not been able to get what he wanted, like you said, he has become a roaring lion. He has got a kind of dog not to keep at home. And that is why even this, they have been looking for a way to get him very well. I don't know what happened from his father family end. He just spoke anyhow and he gets into the trap.
One of the things that is also on the table of discourse is this. In 2023, when he was appointed, or when his name was given out to the Senate to screen, the Senate did not pass him for security concerns, according to them. So according to Ecuador, they said it's because of security concerns. He doesn't have security clearance to run for as being a minister in the country. And then later withdrew himself, that, okay, well, whatever the case is, he's not doing. So some have said that's why he's coming against this present administration. But the other conversation has been that if we talk about Kaduna State, at the time when he was governor, there were a lot of issues, especially criminal issues, security concerns, and all of that. But I want to see, some Nigerians are already begging the question that, could it be that why one of the reasons we have, insecurity in some parts of the north has been that some high-profile people are bankrolling. Because recently the United States brought out about 8 names of people that they have, so they've frozen their accounts because of that, and they've said, oh, there's a sanction on these people, and they are bringing it out. Should we say that there's more to that list, and that more could include?
Yeah, until that name is out, until his name is out, we cannot say his name is part of those people that are bankrolling them. But we know, me and you know, that it will not be possible for insurgents to continue this much without some people bankrolling them. If we have seen the video, you see that these people are not living in flats, not that they're living in duplex, not that they're living in mansions. They are living in the bush. They get feed, they get medical assistance. We have seen some of them got shot, and immediately they take them somewhere. Somebody is taking care of these guys. Somebody is bankrolling them. Some people are enjoying the insecurity situation in this country. They are earning from it, and that is where they felt that they can bring down every government. They can, they can get there by force. Those who are clamoring for a new Nigeria now, has once been in that government before. You ask them, what have you been able to do? What has been your record? What have you gained? What are the things that you have imparted? How has the people seen you when you were in government? Atiku Abubakar has been in government for, I know, 1993. He has been running to be in government for the time I know it was 1993. Even he contested in 1999, but he was stepped down for Obasanjo. And at that time, he got the governorship ticket for Adamawa until Obasanjo picked him up as vice president. If he has not picked him up as vice president, maybe he has ended up as first-time governor, second-time governor of Adamawa State. And look at Adamawa State. Look at the insecurity in Adamawa State. Look at the level of bad governance in Adamawa State. And somebody from that state is still claiming to want to come and rule the entire country. I cannot understand. And I understand too that people who are behind the insecurity of this government, of this country, are in the government. If not, the kind of, these insurgents are coming up in groups. They recruit like they are recruiting for a firm, a companies that needed technicians, security, in that capacity, and they get them. You see these guys floating their money, the money they got from those they have kidnapped on TikTok. And Nigerians can't go with that. The government can't go after those guys. But they can go after an NYC copper who could come up and say the government is not doing well. They could trace that person easily. You know, our communication has also been infiltrated to a point that we, an ordinary Nigerian, are not safe when we make some posts. But those guys in those other areas can make. I can't just imagine they going after. They give us a video of the time they burst into the Nigerian prison. We saw the video, the Kuje prison. They released the prisoners. They give us a 30-minute video of how they even gave some of those guys clothes and money to go before they started burning and everything.
Okay, I'll follow it. Let's talk electoral reform very quickly. And that's also on the table. That's on the plate of many Nigerians. Many people are saying, let's take a bite of this issue because there is a protest currently awaiting the lawmakers today at the National Assembly. Others are saying that, okay, so why is it so difficult? Telcos recently released a report that what they are facing or what the claims of the Senate has been that because of network issues and all of that, there might not be a real-time transmission of results. Meanwhile, telcos have said we have what it takes to do that. That the country is not suffering from that. We can do that in many parts of the country. And so that there's been claims about, is there an intentional effort to sabotage the effort of INEC come 2027? Is there an alleged plot to put on the table electoral malpractices, to do rigging, to do vote buying and all of that? Is there a way that they're trying to push this narrative so it can favor those people who want to rig elections?
You have answered the question.
I've not answered it. I want you to answer it because I'm asking. There's been different conversations.
There are serious mobilization to destroy the electoral processes.
By who?
By those in power.
Who are those in power? This administration or another administration?
Oh, my brother. This administration cannot be another administration. This one, you see, let me tell you, 2097 is a game plan that they felt that if they don't get it right before the election, they may get out of the place unplanned. And that is why you see many allegations coming before the INEC, asking the INEC to reverse the transfer of election to be an e-transfer, to go on real-time electronic transmission. Even the people that are allocating for it, like my brother or my uncle, former governor of Abia State, Oju Dokalu, telling the world that his own place they don't really have network. But he went there. He was always at home when he picked his call. He can take calls. I don't understand. When you see people talking in that manner, that they have something. That they are covering up. They understand that Nigeria is becoming more wiser than before. They also want to see that if they can do their mathematics very well, they'll be able to bring down everything to favor them. I don't know why you are afraid. You've gotten more governors to your side. You are saying that a state is saying that it will deliver 10 million to the election. Another state is talking about 10 million. And if you had 10 million by Nigerian population will have been over the number that you want to deliver the election. But I tell you, my brother, if they are really doing what is necessary, what is needed by the people, they don't need all this. They don't need it. And I tell you, they also plan to tell the INEC officer, the INEC chairman, that the days he has picked for election is going to be it's not favorable to some part of the religion, that they don't feel that is good. And why? I don't know. I don't understand. So it tells you that some people are just at the corner enjoying the destabilization of this country. Because I've got to understand that wherever there is crisis, there is money. Some people are earning from it. Those guys that will go and mobilize, that will go to the state House of Assembly and mobilize, are not going there unfed. They have something they are going to bring back after now.
Yeah, General Musa has come out to say that he's trying to explain why we have another troops, because the first troops we had from the US recently is about 200 personnel, right? Now we have 100 also coming in. So he explained that they are currently in Bauchi. And then he's trying to suppress them because there are different claims from different. Because if you don't explain these things, that's why communication is very important. It's okay to do something good, but it's also important that you put that conversation to the fore. Yeah. Let people understand why this is. Don't just put it and let it let them start guessing, right? So, what do you make of this? Have we gotten to a point where the country eventually end banditry and insecurity?
I am praying so.
But do you think this would help? This would go along with the United States troops?
Well, the United States are not just coming in because we only inviting them, but they are coming for a mission which we know that at the end of the day, is going to favor Nigerians, not the elites.
Afolabi, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me again.
And of course, let's now switch focus to the big story with Samson Balogun. After this break, join us again.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live. As Nigeria battles insecurity across several regions, from banditry to kidnapping, insurgency to communal unrest, a different kind of movement is gathering momentum in the political space. Conversations are shifting, alliances are forming, calculations are underway. 2027 may still be months away, but political engines are already arriving. Of course, today we are to ask a critical question. Are early 2027 political maneuvers distracting politicians from Nigeria's urgent security challenges? Is the nation's focus drifting from public safety to power strategy? Or is it political preparation simply a natural part of democracy? Samson Balogo is my name. And to help us unpack this particular one, we are joined by a respected scholar and public affairs analyst, Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu, KT, a lecturer at the University of Ibadan. Security is the first responsibility of any government. Without safety, there can be no stability. Without stability, there can be no development. Yet across Nigeria, communities continue to demand stronger protection. Look at Kwara and so many other places. Better intelligence coordination and more decisive leadership. At the same time, political conversations are intensifying. Endorsements, defections, subtle alignments, and strategic positioning ahead of 2027. So the question many Nigerians are quietly asking is quite simple. Is the political class prioritizing the next election over present security realities? Or could political maneuvering itself be influencing how security decisions are made? Is there a risk that national security becomes politicized, framed, interpreted, and debated through the lens of electoral advantage? These are not partisan questions. They are governance questions. And that is what we examine this morning on this show. Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu. Good to have you again.
Thank you. It's always a good day with you. Yes. Burning issues.
Just listen to what I said.
Yes. And it's on the front burner.
Are Nigerian politicians prioritizing politics over Nigerian lives?
Politics is every activity that surrounds the governance of a nation. So the business of politicians is Nigerian citizenship in Nigeria, and of course our international reactions and relationships. It is all about who we are, the perception of the people in power over our decisions that pertain to us, our policies, and our response, okay, to what they do. So everybody can only have an interest, or many interests, several interests as it pertains to living. So for the politicians, they are practitioners in organizing and dealing with the people. So the way they deal with us is dependent on how the people respond to what they do.
So let me ask you this question as from the academic standpoint. I don't want to talk to you as an activist. Okay, now, do you think it is too early for 2027 elections to dominate the national debate as we speak?
Since 2023, they've been discussing 2027. Remember, as at 2024, we were not sure 2026 was in Nigerian calendar. Everything, it's almost as if they are fixated on seizing a position. They don't care how they act in those positions. They're not thinking they have to do anything special about the position. That is why people just do anything, because they know that the Nigerian populace is not giving the appropriate response to the activities. If we think you're too ambitious, I don't want to think of Julius Caesar. Okay? There are things that people do. So if you know that if you're going there, you're going to have to serve the people, you'll be shocked how many people will not want to go there.
Some people say if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. Isn't this preparations for the politicians ahead of 2027?
The Nigerian political class, I've said severally, are a civilian dictatorial class. Not all of them, definitely, the normal distribution curve. You have the people at the extremes. But all they think about is how to seize power. You can now see that if you had these political groups, people run to another political groups where they think they are strategically positioned to be prominent and to seize power. So if you are angry because they didn't give you ministerial appointments at a point in time, you even think it's graduation from governorship to senatorial seat. Do you see what I'm saying? Their mindset is that they have to rule over the people. And ruling over the people does not mean solving the problems. See, Nigerians at the time didn't care who became heads of state or...
So what is it to be done if it is not about solving the problem?
Oh, it is just showing off and having access to allergies. Controlling people. See, when we talk about controlling, human beings that are controlling, narcissists, psychopaths, they are controlling. They get this demonic satisfaction from just telling people what to do. So you can just take drugs and come and tell people, waiting, what can you do? I'm sitting here. You can even command professors not to get their salaries. Is that not it? You can say, what do you mean? Close down the place, shut down. Is that not what we do? Even their children are not even afraid of us. I'm the first daughter, first son, first of what? it's because Nigerians don't give appropriate response to their presence in our lives. If what we bring to, yesterday, my daughter went to our IT place and there was a corpse. Okay, young girl, traumatized, just IT for an undergraduate student. And she was highly traumatized and she was saying, I said, listen, people die every day. Okay, excuse me. I said, oh, Nigerians, they die every day from hunger. People abandon their loved ones by the gates of certain places where they hope they can get help. They throw them away because they cannot afford the processes.
So is there any empirical link between heightened political activity at this time and weakened security strategy?
Well, it's a distraction, really. If you look at Nigeria, the money that needs to be garnered in for political activities have been done since 2024. Okay? So now it's a matter of now distribution strategy for keeping the people quiet, buying their votes. So if the government is putting up some standards, INEC is saying, oh no, you cannot do this, they will now go underground and strategize on how it will be done. Go to the ward levels and do whatever they will do. So I will not like to link, I don't want to believe that we have gone that low. You know, nobody likes insecurity. Even if you're going to vote, there has to be some level of peace. You may use thugs to intimidate the people. You may shout, you know, there are many things you can do if they're not willing to give consent, because now their vote counts. Please, Nigerians, your vote counts. That's why they are afraid. So now, their vote count now and they must go out. Who should go out? That's the question. Are they on our side or against us? Then if they are going out, can we do anything to manipulate the result? You know, that will not be possible now if they have to do response in real time. Only nice things can be handled and stuff like that. So you now see them strategizing. That is why Nigerians must become involved in politics. All of us. Know that you are part of it, whether you are sitting in a position or not. And then the questions we take to them. A leader is as good as the people he's leading, the followership. If what we bring to the burner are burning questions, they are forced to look at it and give response.
Okay, if security is the primary responsibility of the government, stability, law and order, then would you say Nigeria has been managing that effectively?
No, we have not. And you see, when we think of physiological level of needs...
But some would say Nigeria as a country is not the only country facing security challenges. There are so many other countries.
And there are so many countries
Africa and outside.
There are many countries that are not facing security challenges. We keep forgetting that we, as a people, Nigerians, are the foremost leaders of the black race. When we understand our lofty position and calling, we will take our stand. If a nation like Nigeria has insecurity, now we're talking about physical security. Do you see? Food security, we don't have. Health security. Institutional security. Institutional security means our institutions can run without any crisis. Is that not what it means? That's systemic violence against the people. So what do we really have as a people? Even our families are no longer secured because of economic issues. So insecurity has different layers and layers and layers. That is why I'm saying that, look, it will take all of us. People say, what can I do? There are many things you can do. You can get involved in this conversation and refuse to be bribed. If we don't discuss, if we have to understand that what we call politics today, governance of a people, began with discussions. The Athenians would discuss. The Greeks, everybody would discuss. Oh, what do we do? How do we do? Even people sit at city gates. It means we must go back to these conversations. And the higher our demands are, the loftier, the primordial will drop. So this ability to use religion, to use ethnicity can fall away. Religion is important. Ethnic leniencies are important because you cannot really fight for what has no connection to you. Human beings are like that. And it is nice too. But the big deal is this. We as a people must understand. These politicians want to sit here. We should make sure that the sword of Damocles is hanging over his head. We should create a process around that lofty position so that when you're there, you're going to serve the people. You cannot be a senator and be bringing groundnut oil. That's an insult. You cannot be a councillor and have no counsel yourself. Okay? You should be a justice of peace. You cannot be a leader when you are only showcasing your wife and your children. What does that? Every male should be able to take care of their family.
So now it's called security, political permutations generally. determine how security resources are spread across, especially in volatile states?
Oh, definitely. But beyond that, okay, and that's another
Some
thing.
say insecurity is now a business.
Oh, definitely. Multi-trillion business. But then it's the people too. If the people understand that the subject to be secured is your life, our attitude will change. If we keep thinking somebody else is going to have more interest in our lives than we have, then the situation will change. So that is why I'm saying the leaders lead a followers based on what they desire.
But Nigerians are helpless. Most Nigerians they do not know what to do, especially in some situations.
Well, I'll give an example. There was the day we had an action. Action to a comrade means we went on the field. So I came to my children's primary school. They were kids then. And when I came, like in my action gear, you know, boots and knickers and stuff like that. So the then headmaster said, very tall, lanky human being said, oh, do you know why they are treating us like this? It's because we don't know our rights. Like, you know, I looked at him, you know, really he's very tall. And I looked, and I'm 1.68. You sure I'm not short, okay? I looked at him, I said, then find out. How can a man say he doesn't know? Do you know that guy found out his rights? In that process, he changed his job. Look, don't be intimidated. Your mothers that told you, don't join them. Don't go out and talk. They are removing you from governance. Understand, that place is everybody's position. But there's a price to pay. The price to pay is the price of knowledge. Knowledge is power. You may not be born into the aristocracy. Your father is not a politician. But if you do what you should do in your community, you're prominent.
Some have fears that insecurity in Nigeria must have been politicized for political advantage.
You know, I will not want to believe we've gone that low. There was a time, really, if you think of hoodlums, it was politicians that reared them to combat one another because the power was not with the people. People grow, nations grow. So now we're at a position where people are more conscious. You know, whether they like it or not, Nigerians are getting educated and informed every day. With community radios, information everywhere. It's not even when you don't want to look. There was a time when if you could not read and write, you could not read newspapers. So you didn't have access to information. But now, if you can hear, you will hear. Okay? Even now, drugs, you have braille on drugs. Nigerians are getting informed every day. And the social media, God bless everybody. The social media is not allowing anybody to rest. So now, what we should now engage are deep discussions. Some people out there should start putting up content to discuss the history of the black race. Do you get how it is? They should begin to discuss what are the concepts that underpin politics. They should begin to tell people, engage them. Let's have robust discussions. Let us move to the place of power. So where you can, you know, because another language of the poor is fist. Okay? When you have the words to express yourself, don't get angry and distressed enough to start blowing anybody. Okay? If you can use words. So let's judge. It means let's have conversations, one family at a time. Every table for food should be tabled. It should be a table for discussions.
So let's talk about Nigerian security institutions. Do you think they are strong enough to maintain a level of neutrality amid heightened political tension?
No. I will not say that our security situation is, human beings are human beings. We have interest and we are influenced. Now, there's no way you can be in securities and you are on this side or that side. Once you are a military person, okay, you are definitely on the side of the state. That's why sometimes some discussions are not discussions for the public. What I mean by that is this: you obey your commandant for the greater good. That's a different level of operations. It's in the civilian space that you have either for or against. But in the military, you're clear cut, you go for the enemies of the state. That is why it matters who sits on that seat. Because that is the grand commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So but the kind of insecurity we are facing in Nigeria, where we had banditry, you know, we are in a historical space. The former president declared to everybody that they were his brothers. And he would even say, don't be harsh with your brothers. Forgive these people that have come to
And that was why we saw
decimate
repentant Boko Haram members at the time.
Well, it's because our president then did not understand how the human mind works.
So what does the body language of the government say in all of this?
Right now, that is different now because we now have a Trump that has decided to be interested in Nigeria. And so there are now multiple players in the dynamics. Yes, the whole world cannot watch a Nigeria collapse, so they are paying attention. And we, the citizens, should seize the opportunity. America is not salvation. Let's get that right. But it's also an opportunity. Like what we are having with El-Rufai now. Okay? Nigerians should understand. We are to listen more. Now, I've been saying since 2025 that 2026 is the year of the bride. Everybody brings out, hey, I want to marry you, I want to marry you. Let us now be discerning. The red flags, the blue flags, the green flags, and know what we're doing. So it is time for us to pay attention to what is happening. They will be exposing themselves now because they think that we are easily influenced and persuaded by words, propaganda. Okay? They'll be digging up dirt. So let them do the fighting amongst themselves. We should watch and make up our minds. Understand, whoever becomes your governor will determine what things are invested in your governance.
If security agencies become partisan, what are the risks?
The risk is that there'll be a lot of conflict. Partisan. They are already, we are human beings. You know that in Nigeria, there is no system in place. That's why we keep talking about restructuring. It means that you may be the best police officer and you may never get promoted because you don't know anybody. So the nepotistic attitude is what is destroying our system. You may be a graduate.
You just mentioned that there's no system in place.
Yeah, that is it. No, that system there was a system in place.
Okay.
Yes. So that was, I said, there was a country where everybody knew merit should matter. 13th of February, I really missed General Murtala Mohammed that day. I mean, it was all over my mind, okay? There was a system in place.
How bad is the system now?
No, now we've destroyed it with nepotism. We've destroyed it with lack of respect for merit. So people now came to the point where they are now socializing to understand that it's not whether you're good, it's who you know. That's nepotism. It's who you know. So that is what people are running for now. But the moment Nigerians decide, where I'm seated, I want who is good, at the risk of who will now remove you because you're doing the right. People get punished now for what is good. So it is the system we have now. So that system is dysfunctional.
Is it wrong to believe in the usual tagline of follow who no road?
If they know road, if they not go take you, go hell. Yes, these people are leading us into abyss. See the economy. Were they not leading us? Did they know the road? They don't know this road to success, but they know that road for their children. Think of the map. They know how to get excellent education for their children, while the children of the poor should miss school. They know how to take care of their sick when they are ill, but they think that our own hospitals can shut down for a long time. Do you see it? So they know the road that they want for their family members. They are holding place now for their children to take over. So if you're a Nigerian listening to me and you are voting the son of somebody, understand nobody can inherit a brain. A mind is special. That's why every human being is unique. The fact that the father even knew something about politics, whatever kind of politics he's practicing, the son cannot inherit it. That's aristocracy. Where you think the king has a son, and because of the system in the palace, the son would learn to be gallant. That is not happening for us in Nigeria. So understand, now you see all of them going around with their sons. Have you noticed it? You keep asking yourself, these grown-up human beings, do they not have jobs to do? How are they free to be following daddy and mommy up and down? You see, they are preparing themselves. And the democracy, if Benjamin Franklin said he didn't want to be a king, okay? So they created the democratic system, a system where every adult person can come and contribute to their nation, and they will get, some reward for the contribution they've made to the society. That is why you can have a Bill Gates that didn't finish school at a point, create his own business. That is proper democracy, where your contribution to the state is what determines what you get. It's a capitalist-based economy. But in a Nigeria where we're disproportionately aligned, where the majority of the people are not educated, where the majority of the people are so primordial, they are sentimental, then you have to put in another thing. And that was what Abawolowo put in place. Let the people be educated. So when you see anybody say, don't worry, your children can just, because I used to sell on the street, your children can also be hanging on the street. that person does not like you. No matter how sweet that sound, your life is at risk.
So do you now think Nigerians are becoming desensitized because of political noise?
No. A group of Nigerians are waking up. You can see them going to the House of Assembly to tell them, no. You cannot pass that bill. Okay? We will have this bill. People are beginning to be more conscious. They now know we should take the battle to your gate. Before you pass a bill that will put us in trouble, we want to be part of it. And many Nigerians in the diaspora are working hard to make sure Nigeria gets better because they are not resting. Can you imagine when you're living in the cold and you have to keep sending money to everybody? It's not easy. It's not easy. You're sustaining people in the family instead of making progress in a new community to establish yourself and your seed. You see, a lot is happening. So everybody is interested in this Nigeria. Nigeria is a nation of concern to me. The mind of the people in Nigeria is of concern to me. The health of the people is of concern. Look, that lady that died that my daughter saw yesterday, she died of malnutrition. Why? They said somebody dumped her. She could have died of many things, okay? But nobody was caring for her. Why? Nobody will intentionally throw away their family members if they have resources to take care of them. So we are seeing it. At my daughter's age, I didn't see a corpse. Now she had to see it. And she was like, they're saying it's normal. I said, it is in Nigeria now. People are dying because they cannot afford health care. They are dying because they cannot even pursue justice. Justice is expensive in Nigeria. Healthcare is expensive in Nigeria. Education is expensive in Nigeria. Meaning 1,355,000,000 are exchanged from that system. So what is the future? That is more than the population of some nations. So yes, insecurity has a link with governance. And the response of the people is what determines what the government will consider important.
Now, if this trend continues, what does the security landscape in Nigeria, what is it going to look like in the next 1 year, 2027 to be precise?
I want to say that I'm trusting that Nigerians know that there's only one life. There's no extra life anywhere. So the trend should not continue. It means that in your community, begin to groom your young boys. See, anybody coming to attack you understands your strength. They've done an evaluation of your ability to resist. So if we keep grooming cowardice, or if we keep telling ourselves that somebody is coming, we will not be strong. If you know nobody is coming, and I'm telling you, Nigeria is changing. Women are no longer sitting down and thinking, one man is coming. That mind is changing. Children are not thinking, my daddy has to bless me. They are understanding, look, blessing or curses, I have a life to live. Do you see it? Our youth are not waiting for employment. They are creating jobs and making waves all over the world. The power dynamics is changing every day. And I'm excited. So the same way, if you thought you would throw rice at their chest, they will not take it. And they are beginning to understand the power dynamics that if we come together, we can vote out anybody. There's nothing that says you must choose between APC, ADC, and PDP. No! XYZ, ZLP, MPP, whatever PP they want to put, you can choose. So long you vote for that person, the person takes the seat. So do your work. If you're a young man and you want to be involved into politics, just go around the household in your community. Go to each family, be involved with them, strategize. If you don't win now, you win later. The reason they are spending so much money buying tickets is because they think they have a structure in place. You go back to the grassroots. And that's why I'm saying, the INEC chairman, please, if you want your name to be written in gold, then let us begin the election with the councillorship. That's the first election to go. When we start with the presidency, like you are planning in February, you're already going to bias the system. Because people want to align with the president. So that is why I know that we are not there yet. It's not Uhuru yet. We are not there yet, but we're in a process. We're in a process because Nigerians know when the people making soap left Nigeria, what did Nigerians do? They started making soap at home. Is that not it? Nigerians are learning that nobody is coming. So we're in another phase of independence. And this is to the politicians. You should be very, very careful. Your children are not going to rule over us. We will not take it. Yeah, people are sending their own children to school, and they will have to contend with those children that are more, when you're not big, you have more power. Chemistry. So those kids on the street that see you fly over their head. Every time you're doing the flyover, you're not considering them. They are studying the system. They can talk to one another, and that is what I'm calling. Please, if you are a CBO, you are a CSO, you are an FBO, go to the people you've been feeding for years. Talk to them. Who you vote for matter. Don't be hooligans in their campaigns. Women, stop dancing up and down. You know, it's very strange how Nigerian women behave. They give them white vest, very ugly vest like this, not even good quality vest, okay? Then they start dancing up and down. Hey. As they are dancing, when it is time for putting people in positions, you don't get any positions. Then you now think, I'll go and beg them.
And some of them eventually become women leaders.
No.
Some of them get to nominate their children in some cases.
That is what they think. There's a process.
This is what we'll discuss the next time you come here. What is the role of women in politics?
Very terrible.
Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
That's been a wonderful session with you.
Thank you.
Now, as we have had today, politics and governance are inseparable in any democracy. But the balance between preparing for tomorrow's election and protecting today's citizens is delicate. If political ambition overshadows public safety, the cost is paid not in headlines, but in human lives. Yet, if political competition strengthens accountability, it could also sharpen the focus on security delivery. The real issue is not whether 2027 conversations will happen. They will. The real issue is whether Nigeria's security architecture remains firm, professional, and insulated from partisan calculations. That is the conversation we must continue to have. Thank you, Comrade Katie, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for sharing your insight. I'm Samson Balogun, and this has been The Big Story on Daybreak Live. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay safe.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. It is now time for Trend Watch on this style, and Oluwapo Idowu is back.
Yeah, so good to get back on these conversations that we're about to have, and the ones you've also had now. Yeah, but it's, the conversation is about how 5.78 billion naira Kwara UBC, that's UBEC, of course, Education Trust Fund money, were spent by ex-governor Abdul Fattah on loans an unrelated project. That's coming from EFCC witness reports, and that's exactly that conversation right there. To say the one that was supposed to be used for certain things, maybe according to what we have, the trial of former Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed and his former Commissioner for Finance Ademola Banu resumed over the alleged the diversion of 5.78 billion naira Universal Basic Education Commission funds meant for basic education in the state. And the proceedings resumed on Monday yesterday before Justice Mahmoud Abdul Ghaffar of the Kwara State High Court in Ilorin, with an investigator of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission giving damning testimony on how the funds were allegedly misplaced. Of course, that's exactly the story as to how that unfolded. But you might want to ask questions that if there's, I mean, well, no disrespect, but if there's any money to be misappropriated, should it be the university or the Universal Basic Education Commission Fund? Should it be the one that's supposed to help academics or to help education in the country or in the state, as it were, in Kwara State at the time? So you might ask, these people, maybe when they need money, they can take it from anywhere, even from a lion's mouth. They don't care who sucks God. They don't care if your child gets education. All they want is, I need a fund for something, and I'm getting it. I don't care where it comes from. Because if you have to say, there should be some special, maybe credence given to certain sectors. For example, security. Example, education. Because those are the things that would do. Because if you have security, we mean we can live tomorrow. We can live to face whatever danger is coming tomorrow. That's one. Two, if we have education, we can trust that our kids, the leaders that we call the leaders of tomorrow, are going to do well by the law, do well by governance, and do well by the people as well, just to ensure that they give their best, because they've gotten the best of education they should get. Every nation, there's no nation that puts an illiterate person to be their ruler, because there's a requisite knowledge bank that you need to have as a leader to be able to do well, right? So if you're not investing in funds meant for education, meant for the progress and continuity of our children in education, then what should we really be talking about? Because every other nation, because at the end of the day, we are competing with nations, global nations. Every nation is trying to do as much as they can. Some are investing so heavily on AI, education methods, on how to get their kids upgraded academically and educationally. But Nigeria is not looking at that direction. What we are looking at is how we can get some funds from UBEC and use it for divert it for personal reasons or personal interests. And it's really unbecoming and it's bad. Yeah,
well, it is really sad, just like you said, that people who originally should know better are the ones being found culpable, and they are the perpetrators of these heinous acts you find in the financial crimes arena. Unfortunately, the former governor happens to be a retired bank executive. That really should know better, that should know what fraud really means. But then, as long as EFCC has not said, look, we have charged you, and is still answering some cases, is still responding and providing evidences to say that, look, it might not be as bad as you think, or I have not even done this at all. So let's just believe that, Nigerians will want to give you benefit of the doubt, and that's exactly what we have seen over and over again in the country. Nigerians trust too much. They want to believe that no matter how much you steal, are you still going to provide the basic needs for us? Because eventually you realize they don't need too much. They just want good roads, water. They just want to survive. They want to live. And as it stands, it's not working. And I mean, we are not saying that in the Nigerian, governance landscape, and that's really bad. But for you see, there has been a trajectory of people who have been governors in that state, from Bukola Saraki, who eventually became the Senate president in Nigeria, to Abdul Fattah Ahmed, and to some other people like that. He was governor for 8 years, and they have a very strong bond. In fact, the family bank that belongs to the Sarakis, Abdul Fattah Ahmed was there as I think he was there as the chairman of the bank for some time. But in the real sense of it, let's make sense of what becomes of Nigeria as a country if everyone becomes corrupt. What will happen to Nigeria? What will happen to Nigerians? What will happen to the future of the country that everyone, the heroes past, people we call the heroes past, what they tried, they sweat to make of this country. So what will happen in the next 5-10 years? I just asked Katie about what the future of the country would look like in the 5 years. Even, let's say, 2027 and beyond. We are creating, for every action we take, we are creating history. we're trying to make something happen. But unfortunately, children will come and say, look, this is what they did. Nigerians still make reference to some of the things done during the whole Western, Eastern region. They are talking about the cocoa house built by Awolowo. They are talking about the Premier University. They are talking about so many other things built with cocoa money then. There was no crude oil. And when crude oil came, it became a crisis. So why is it that it was when Nigeria became blessed that then we have this kind of leaders? It's becoming a disaster. But let's take one or two comments, just one or two comments before we go on this show this morning. I think let's take the short one. Okay, was he not one of the saints of yesterday politicians? Okay, someone says love looks different from everyone, but the sweetness, well, people really have a lot of different ways to react to issues, but this will be the convenient point to draw the curtains on today's edition of Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. We say thank you for joining us on this show. Do well to link up with us again tomorrow. Same time, same station, same 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning on weekdays. All right, Samson Balogun is my name. As I always say, keep being good out there. Keep being safe. Bye for now.
And I would say on the last note that without accountability, really, I think the Federal Allocation Committee should really look into how they disburse money to states. Because it seems like that's the loophole that state governors are using to siphon money. Because if it was generated by the state, they would not want to really stifle all of the money, like take all the money to themselves. But that's exactly what I would say this morning. My name is Anulu Akboido. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same station, and bye for now. Thank you.